Hello. Hello. How are you today? Well, we got snow. We got beautiful snow. When I drove home yesterday from the yarn shop, the trees were so beautiful. I was actually leaning out my window trying to drive in a string of traffic and hold my phone out and get videos of the beautiful trees, and I said to myself, stop doing that, you're going to get in an accident. Just stop doing it. And the dog and I, we always played to see if there's any dogs out, and there actually was a family out shoveling with the dog out. And this morning the trees were not pretty anymore. The snow had fallen off, but it was predicted to get a squall. We don't get squalls here. I remember back from the little days of the house on the prairie, have my friend here, the puppet. Hello. Everybody has to pick him up and play with him. And I got him at Readers and Greeters store, which I was very sad to hear they're closing. They're in Hunt Valley. So they tried everything and they just aren't sustainable. And you always feel bad when a smaller business goes out, but he is fun and fluffy. The kids love him. Hello. I didn't name him. I guess he could be Alpaca, but we'll move him to the side here. Come here, Ellie. Come here, girl. So this morning, come here. Coming to work. She's decided no, she's not being on the podcast. We actually did see a lady out walking her dog and opened the window and she has to look out, but when that squall came up, it was practically white out. As I was saying, back from the Little House on the Prairie days, when you read her books, they would have squalls that would come up, and they would send the children home from school, and you could literally get lost. And the farmers would have ropes that went out to their barn so they could hold on and not get lost. So I'm grateful we don't have squalls all the time. I am wearing my bright, cheerful Tahiti shawl. Tahiti is a cotton yarn. It's a flat tape put out by Katia. A lot of people are afraid of yarns like this. They don't quite know what to do with them. And then I feel like it's up to the companies to give pattern support. One of my customers, Barbara, hey Barbara Hunt, came in and bought the yarn and made one of these, and she said in this color that every time she wears it she gets lots and lots of compliments. So I decided today we needed some brightening up, and this pattern comes from one of the Katia books. I just can't seem to get myself even, and makes me feel bright and cheerful, as colors do. So I have lots to show you. I've really been excited about knitting this time of the year. Yesterday, nobody came to the shop except at the very end. The lady told me the roads were getting icy. I should head home. Perfect night to sit and read and knit, play games with my husband. We like to play Farkle, and we have a lot of fun with Farkle. Has anyone ever heard of the Annie's Attic Mysteries? The editor said that these books were far from done when they finished. They center around Annie Dawson, who moves to Maine to settle her grandmother's estate. Her grandmother has a home called Green Gables that overlooks the ocean, and Annie gets in with the Hook and Needle Club at the yarn and fabric shop and decides to lay down roots and ends up staying. She keeps finding mysteries in her grandmother's attic. And this one is of a beautiful wedding dress with crocheted accents and a hat box with the veil and crochet gloves. And by the way, crochet gloves for weddings are back. Trying to figure out who this dress belonged to. It was a wonderful book. I loved how everything came together at the end, and I would highly recommend any of these books. There's also a love interest. It's kind of an undercurrent in the book, and you're always wondering, when is Annie going to get together with Ian the mayor? And I think if they would have let the books keep going, it would have happened. I carry most of these in my shop. They're a lot of fun. When I found this one, I was so excited because I thought I had read them all. And now I'm wanting more. So, on with color and excitement. What should I show you first? I've been having fun podcasting, and I hope that you're having fun and enjoying me. I think winter is just a special time for Chris. I'm going to start out and show you some cowls, some infinity scarves, some Mobius, both knitted and crocheted. I don't know why I have trouble starting out this podcast telling you my name. Hello, I'm Catherine Kirby at Creative You Yarn Shop in Pennsylvania. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry. Now, I don't know why I have trouble saying that. I always forget. I can just picture somebody thinking, oh, is this about reading books? Or it is a knitting and crocheting podcast. One of these podcasts, I'm gonna get it right. So I'm going to show you some scarves and infinity. I think last podcast I showed you the Darn Knit Quick Kinetic Cowl, and it looked one way in bulky yarn. This is done with Euro Yarn's Maple. Lots of pretty colors. There are the drop stitches. And this yarn is DK weight, but it also comes in a chunky. It is a polyester yarn. Typically sells for about $8. And I believe I had shown you this crocheted shawl in that colorway. And aren't those colors gorgeous? It always amazes me how colors seem to know how to stop at the end. I don't know, it seems magical. So that is a maple. Next, let's go with Painted Sky, which is a Knitting Fever yarn, and this is one of their free patterns. I think you can find it right on Ravelry for free, and maybe on their website as well. Painted Sky is a 2-ply with 2 colors twisted together. I really like the pattern, and there's fingerless mitts that go with this too. I think if you're going to do it though, I think you should do a stretchy bind off. The company gave me this sample. This end is nice and stretchy. This end, not so much. And when you go to put it on, could be a little bit looser. Hey, could be a slouch hat. When we were kids, we were raised in a Catholic school, and when you were getting undressed and you pulled your shirt, you would always want to see what you would look like as a nun. And or back when girls wore petticoats, and I never thought that I would have made a pretty looking nun. So this is also another one of their free patterns. And again, this is Painted Sky. I love the middle of this. Isn't that a neat design? In fact, one day a lady came into the shop and she said, I've been thinking about a design, and she brought up pillows. I don't know, pillows, and it would have this lacy part down the middle, and then the sides would be solid. And I'm scrambling. I'm going all over trying to look at books. She's drawing it for me, and I just can't get it. And I know who worked here, went and picked this up, and the lady said, yeah, that's it. Yes, that's exactly what I want. That's exactly what I want to make. There's the bottom. And the back. So I think it's lovely. And they have a lot of pretty colors in this yarn. And I can show you some. This is one of the brighter colors. So you can see how the yarn is twisted together. And this is an infinity scarf that I made out of that color. That is color number 216. And this is called, I think, Amazing Grace Infinity Scarf by Alina Hunt. She has a lot of patterns. You should go to her Ravelry page and look at all of her pretty patterns that she has designed. I didn't intend to get a Mobius, but when I joined it, sometimes I think even when you have crochet lined up, while you're working on it, at the very beginning, it can flip, and then surprise, surprise. So next, let's do the Bella cow. I've shown you some things with Usha. When it has the pretty little color changes, they call it Usha Suya. And this is a really squishy, nice merino yarn with a little bit of polyamide. This is one of the patterns from Knitting Fever. It's a pay-for pattern. Look at these old rustic buttons. But this yarn is really soft and luxurious. There does come the question for people who don't knit, they really don't know what to do with something like this. And I can see that it might look awkward. For me, I would do that and put my coat on and be nice and cozy, and it would almost be like a triangular scarf. I don't think people that love yarn really get into that. They just love having it against their skin, and it's not really an issue. Okay, we are going to do the Splendid Striped Cow by Martine Ellis. And I made a bunch of these. You know how when you get a favorite pattern and you just keep making it, and you don't want to stop, but I mean, it's silly to keep making it, and you think of all the possible color combinations you could get. So my base was Ella Rae Chunky Merino Superwash. It's just a standard chunky size. It knits up really, really nice. A lot of my chunky yarns are combinations. This is the real deal, 100% bright orange. And so I used that yarn as my base and then incorporated a variegated color. So I used cream. In this one I used teal, and you can make them bigger or smaller. You do a provisional cast on first. If any of you are afraid of a provisional cast on, just don't be. If you can crochet a chain, you crochet a chain, and then you pick up stitches in the back lump of the chain, and then just start knitting. And then when you're ready, you pull out the chain. Don't forget though to do your provisional cast on a yarn that contrasts with the yarn that you're using. And then you can do a Kitchener stitch or a 3-needle bind off where you line your 2 needles up and bind them off together. And then this fun one, I used the really pretty like lemon lime color. Great gifts. They look great triple wrapped and double wrapped. How about the Hope Cow? The Hope Diamond Cow by Juniper Moon. I believe mine might be, this is a $6 pattern. I think mine might be a little smaller than the one. It has this really neat braid design. And then this part It has this really nice, soft give to it. It's definitely not for the beginning knitter, but that's okay. And that is done with Harriet Great, which is 100% alpaca. This is one of the beautiful colors. I kind of hesitated whether I should show you this because I can't remember the name of the pattern, but it's a lovely crocheted cowl with buttonholes, and it's the granite stitch, so the single crochet, and then, well, I don't think I buttoned this right, but anyway, I'm trying to get away from saying anyway, and since I've been listening to other podcasters, I notice a lot of them say it too all the time. I mean, there could be worse things, but there's your buttons and there's your buttonholes, and it's really pretty, and it's nice and soft. I'll be right back.